Hey there, this is Matt once again, and center this there. Another review thanks to PerryFan49 who sent this to me, Aftermath, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it says here 2016, but other places say it came out 2017. Now, PerryFan49, if you're watching, thank you so much for this gift. Glad to have it for my Arnold Schwarzenegger collection. The story apparently is based on a true story, although how true, that's always fishy. But you have 2 points of view. Arnold Schwarzenegger, his wife and daughter, forget if it was a daughter, but his wife and kid, wife and daughter are killed in a plane crash. At the same time, this guy named Jake, he was an air traffic controller, and because of some circumstances, and he accidentally caused these two planes to collide. And the movie sort of goes from point of view to point of view, with Arnold finding out about this, looking into the crash site, trying to deal with his grief, the pencil pushers trying to buy him off, and he's like, hey, I just want someone to say they're sorry. No one has said they're sorry for this. I want your company to apologize. Meanwhile, the other guy, this guy here, he is getting depressed. He buys a gun, thinking about suicide. He gets these pills, thinking about suicide. I believe his wife is played by Maggie Grace from the Taken films. I could be wrong. I saw Maggie Grace's name, but I think that was her. Yeah, she's in the film. I think that's the character she played. And so that guy's getting distant from his wife and his kid. Signs and paintings on his house saying murderer. And that's pretty much the gist of the first 50-some minutes of the movie. About 54 minutes in, then it cuts to 1 year later. And then I'm not giving this stuff away because it was in the trailer. If you think of spoiling it, this is all that was in the trailer. Because a year later, then Arnold, he wants to see him face to face, and then the question, will he shoot the guy? Will he kill the guy? Will he do something to the guy? Will he not? What's the finale of this movie? Which I won't spoil right now. I knew this was a drama going in for Arnold Schwarzenegger. I appreciate Schwarzenegger trying to do something different. Dramatic role, just like he did with Maggie. But like Maggie, Arnold is not the problem. I think Arnold does a good job acting-wise. He's good at showing emotion and grief and sadness. There's nothing over the top in his performance. I've always been a fan of Schwarzenegger going back in the day. I enjoy the Conan films, the Terminator. I do like T2. My favorites are Predator, The Running Man, Commando. I like Red Heat. I love End of Days. I think End of Days is one of his most underrated. I thought he did a good job acting in that film. I thought he did a good job in Collateral Damage, which that was another film where he had a wife and a kid who were killed, only that dealt with terrorism, and that was more of an action. And then thriller, maybe, would be the right word for that. This is strictly a drama. I knew going into that. Big fan of Schwarzenegger. He does a good job acting like he did in Maggie, but also like Maggie, Sally, it's a very bleak, slow, and boring movie. I don't know if this would be a full-blown rant, maybe a mild rant. I don't know if I'll title it mild rant. Maybe I'll just say rant. Because at the end of the day, did I like the film? No, not really. Would I ever see the film again? Only if ever, did like a Schwarzenegger marathon where I watch all his stuff. Then I can at least watch his performance again. That's why I'm glad to have this. And like I said, I'm glad I have it for the Schwarzenegger collection. Even as a film I don't like, I mean, getting it for free as a gift, that's very humbling, and there's nothing bad to say about it. Hell, if someone sent me Terminator Genesis, that piece of shit, for free, I'd take it. Because, and I will say this is better than Terminator Genesis, because Terminator Genesis was like a shit on your face. But then, you know, thankfully you forget about it, you get over it. But getting to this film, it goes at a slow pace. I can understand that. The rest of the cast didn't do much for me. I'm not going to say they were badly acted, but like the other guy, Jake, played by, what is it, McNairy? I'm not going to say he was bad. He just didn't do much for me. His character didn't do much for me. It's not like he was unlikable or anything. It's not like when the things happened, his character was fucking around or was jerking off or was, you know, smoking and not paying attention, was an asshole. It wasn't anything like that. But I don't know, just, it made me go, what if you just told this completely from Arnold's point of view? And the finale was like, I just thought the finale was kind of weak as well, which I'll get to. And it just seems like not much really happens. Pretty much what I said is kind of what happens in the movie. Arnold goes to the airport, gets told. Then you go for the other guy's point of view. Shows if this is how air traffic control really works, he seems pretty incompetent because one guy goes to get a snack and leaves a guy alone. Then the guy comes in, oh, by the way, there's another plane that came in, and then just leaves this guy alone. And then you have people fucking with the phones, like repairmen, and it's like, again, if air traffic controllers are this incompetent, I'll never fucking be on an airplane. And like this one bit, if you're an air traffic controller, you can let me know on this. Does a pilot say, I haven't heard a confirmation from you, but you know what? I'm going to descend to 6,000 feet anyway. Or wherever feet it was, like however long a while it was. 6,000 feet doesn't sound that high, actually. But I forget what it is, like the actual number and stuff. But do pilots, would a pilot make that decision without getting confirmation? Wouldn't that be sort of the pilot's fault? Like, I haven't gotten confirmation from you, but fuck it, I'm going to descend anyway. Yeah, it's like, it's not really the controller's fault, this guy's fault. It's more the pilot's fault for being a dumbass for not waiting for confirmation. I'm like, if you haven't gotten confirmation, then maybe something's wrong, and that sounds like a stupid thing of the pilot to do, so be the pilot's fault, not the controller's, air traffic controller's fault. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me nitpicking or questioning. Then you get to Arnold's point of view. He very easily gets on the team to look through the wreckage of see if there's any survivors. And I'm like, again, wow, these people who are on this are very incompetent. Just like, Arnold's behind a guy, and the guy's like, hey, I need to do this. Okay. Hey, are you with him? Arnold's like, yeah. Okay, show me your ID. Okay, go ahead and put on the suit. I'm like, getting very willy-nilly with their protocols. But yeah, that's me nitpicking. But that shows how bored I was when I'm looking for little shit like that to question or nitpick or whatever the fuck. Then the other guy, he goes home to his wife and kid, and like I said, stuff's painted on his house, and he's trying to cook breakfast, and doesn't realize that it's raw. He buys a gun, sits in a chair, gets some pills, thinks he's going to use it, he doesn't. I guess I'm getting the spoilers now. But it's just like much, and then Arnold really doesn't have much other than just sort of sit and cry and sit, pontificate a little bit to his boss of, I need to be doing something, sit, look sad. And then what? That's what I mean. It's just very slow, boring, bleak, and I would probably say I put Maggie above this because at least you had the little thing with the zombie epidemic, background. Although it was PG-13 and it was shot almost as if it was fucking black and white Maggie. But I mean, at least there was a little bit more for story-wise, I guess. So yeah, I would put Maggie above this. I wasn't a big fan of Maggie either. It just Arnold's performance is fine, but I wish he was in a much better movie. And I like when action stars go for this. Jean-Claude Van Damme, whether it be stuff he did in Wake of Death, In Hell, was a prison movie. Yes, there was some brawling in it, but Van Damme did a good job. And I like In Hell. I like Wake of Death. I like Until Death. JCVD. JCVD's not an action film. More of his hit character. Granted, it's him playing a version of himself, but JCVD was really good. Stallone, of course, Rocky, Copland. But the score was kind of being sort of that one, I don't want to say one note, but kind of, I can't remember anything of the score, actually. I'm drawing a blank. The supporting characters didn't do much for me. The other guy just didn't leave much of an impression to me. And I guess I'll spoil it. I'll start spoiling now. I'm sorry. They tell the one guy, the character named Jake, Scoot McNairy, that you're going to need to get out of here and change your name. And he's like, oh, but my family's here, but he's going to have to do that. Arnold, meanwhile, these guys with like greased up hair, they look like yuppies from the 80s. Like the white boys from I Come in Peace. Like I don't know if anyone will get that, but if you do, cool. But like I Come in Peace and Dolphin, he deals with the guys called the white boys. Where like these like 2-3 assholes will like they'd be fit with the white boys and very one-dimensional evil. Where Arnold's like, hey, look at the picture. I just want someone to apologize. I want someone, no one has said they're sorry. I want your company to say sorry. And that's all Arnold wants. And these three guys, especially this one guy, is like, listen, let me put it to you simply. If you don't sign this piece of paper, you won't get a dime. You won't get a penny. And someone in your line of work, you'd want that. And Arnold's like, look at the picture, because I know you didn't look at it before. And it's like, just tell the fucking guy you're sorry. In this day and age, when this is not like supposed to be an over-the-top, fun 80s or even current action movie. This is not a popcorn flick. This is supposed to be a real, and yes, I get there are corporate guys who are assholes and one-dimensional too. Believe me. Although I think, trust me, I know there are, but I don't know, it just didn't fit in this movie. Like, it would fit in a movie like Collateral Damage, which I'll mention that in a little bit, but not in this. And then Arnold just goes home, and it's a year later. This is like 54, 55-minute mark. And just the one guy, he getting people to sign to go on cruises or tourism and shit. Arnold, he's busy building fences for people. The one guy's just sort of depressed and not doing much. Arnold gets information where the guy's at. The one guy, his wife and kid come by and seem like maybe things will get better. Arnold comes by. Arnold, he does put the picture up, and he even said before to someone, I just want him to apologize and look at the picture. Just no one's apologized. And honestly, this character, Jake, is a fucking idiot. You see a guy who looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You see a guy looking like this. 2 shades away from Grizzly Adams, but, Arnold's still buff for a guy his age. Big guy. This guy, Jake, opens the door and he's like, who are you? Knocks the picture that Arnold's holding out of his hand and says, get out of here. You shouldn't be here. I'll call the police. I'll call the police. What, you crazy? What, you crazy? He says, like, what, you crazy, like 5 times. I'm going, this is the dumbest way for you to react to this. Like, wouldn't you be like, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's all Arnold wanted. And then, in a fit of rage, this guy's acting like a dumbass. He stabs the guy in the neck, and then the guy dies. Arnold gets put in jail. Then he got 10 years. He got paroled. He's at a cemetery. He's walking. The one guy's son is grown up, ready to kill him. Arnold says he's sorry. The kid goes, you know what, I'm not going to do that because my dad taught me better. He leaves. And Arnold just stands there and he walks off. And that's the end of the movie. And it's like, I guess some would say, what's the message it's trying to tell you? If you get revenge, you may get 10 years and someone might not kill you. I mean, ideas like sort of what's the kind of message? I mean, all we did is that Arnold says he's sorry. And this is like this build up and it leads to like, okay, this is what it led to, and I don't really get what message it's trying to go for, because yeah, Arnold, I guess, does pay because he does go to jail for 10 years and then gets out, and like immediately when he gets out, this scene with the older kid happens, but doesn't really say that Arnold's going to be thinking about this for the rest of his life, or that, you know what I mean? Like, so like, what's the big message of the film? So at the end of the day, I found it bleak, I found it boring, I found it slow. The other characters didn't do much for me. The story I can't remember a damn thing about. The message, I don't really get what message it's really going for by the end of the film. The ending just felt weak and almost anticlimactic. It's like a build-up for this. Some stuff in the plot just doesn't make the best sense to me. Like the air traffic control scene, it seems like it's more the pilot's fault than the air traffic controller. These uppity guys just fucking say the company. Why wouldn't the company say we apologize for what happened? Why wouldn't they say that? I mean, then the one guy's reaction when Arnold gets to the door is just such a, to me, it's just like a weird reaction considering how he's acted and all this stuff before. And then you didn't think this would happen one day, and that someone would find you, and all he asked for is to apologize as a photo. You're like, you're crazy. I'll call the police. You're crazy. And you knock the photo out. Like, what do you expect, man? A fucking handshake? Especially with a guy that looks like Arnold. Do you want to fuck with this guy? He was like, how did you look at the picture? It's not even like he pulled a gun on the guy or anything. So yeah, at the end of the day, I just wasn't much of a fan of this movie. I appreciate Arnold, what he was trying to do, but sadly, just the scripts or the director or just they just don't. Arnold can't save the film for me, and his acting is good, but the movie really doesn't give him much to do. Sad to say. I mean, I'm not going to say it's one of Arnold's worst movies, but it's just I don't know. I know Perry Fan 49 is much more of a fan of this than me. I'm sorry, man, but again, glad to have it for the collection for the Arnold Schwarzenegger collection, but it's just not my cup of tea. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.